makes decisions for the institution. It caters for all the welfare of members of parliament. It takes everything in terms of the welfare, in terms of the development of the institution. On that note, I want to welcome you so much to Parliament of Uganda. This is the Ugandan Parliament of Uganda. In Uganda, we have 3 arms of government. We have executive, that is headed by the president, whom we are yet to meet. I don't know if you have met him. We also have legislature, headed by the speaker, who is my good self, Anita Moore. And then we have judiciary, that is headed by the Chief Justice. Specifically in Parliament of Uganda, we have 529 elected members of Parliament. The 529 members of elected, we have additional 18 members who are ex-officials that the president appoints to become ministers. That is the composition of this parliament. And on a special note, as Parliament of Uganda, one other arm of government, we want to welcome you to the Pearl of Africa. Uganda is a Pearl of Africa where when you're in Uganda, you must feel at home. And we have enjoyed a lot of bilateral relationship with Japan in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education. We've enjoyed this relationship for almost 62 years, and we've been together with the JICA. We even paid tribute to JICA in Parliament of Uganda for the good work they've done in Uganda. And as you come in now, I want to appreciate your colleague who left, and now you who has come in. I want to really thank you for coming in at the time we need you most. This is the time we need you most. We have a lot of challenges in terms of the climate changes, where the roads are being swept off by water, where we need roads to be worked on, the schools to be worked on, that are rising out of climate changes. But because you've come in at the right time, we'll be able to work together. Just yesterday we were talking about Karuma Bridge. Karuma Bridge, that is in the northern Uganda. The bridge has had a problem, but with your support, you'll be able to support and see that the country that you've been posted and that you're going to work in is going to be a country that will enjoy the benefits coming from Japan. When you look at the socio-economic development, most of our cars that we use in Uganda come from Japan. Japan gets market for cars from Uganda because we believe it is the Japan cars that are good for our roads here in Uganda. So on that note, we really want to appreciate and thank you for coming. And we want to thank the appointing authority, the one who appointed you to come over to Uganda. We want to thank him so much for sending you over to Uganda. And as Parliament, we will give you unwavering support in the execution of your work while you're in Uganda. Uganda is a country that you will never want to leave. When you come here, you'll always want to live here. And it has very friendly people. When you settle down and once you are acclimated, I'll ask my commissioners here to take you to different parts of the country to see. Have you ever heard of Equator? It comes from where Equator is. First tell me about Equator.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Allow me to welcome His Excellency. Of course, geographically, you need to appreciate that Uganda is astride the equator, one of the few countries that has this latitude across. Of course, it influences our environment greatly, which is why we share the north and south of the same, and the part of the climate of the south of Uganda and the larger part of the central is largely influenced by the equator. The reason why our temperatures are more or less uniform throughout the year, and it contributes to the ambience and the beauty of this country. So on your way to the southwest, you'll be able to reach that critical point and probably test the nature and how geography is shaped by that latitude. So welcome, and that you're pleasing. I should be able to be taken around and appreciate the beauty of Mother Uganda. Welcome.
Thank you so much. And as I've promised and we've said, we will continue collaborating in terms of trade, in terms of technological development and exchange. We know we are so far in terms of technology. We'll want to tap something from Japan in terms of technological development. And then the refugee policy. Uganda has so many refugees from different countries. We've been so welcoming that whoever the refugees that are in every country, the end point is always Uganda. And as we work together, we will request that in whatever things that you're going to be doing, put refugee policy in one of them, so that we are able to support these people who have nowhere to go, but they have a country in Uganda that is ready to welcome them. And on that note, once again, we want to thank you for coming to Uganda. And we look forward for a better collaboration between Japan and Uganda, and then between your Parliament of Japan and Parliament of Uganda, where we can even enter into an MOU between the Parliament of Japan and Uganda, so that we can be able to do exchange programs in the legislation. We can be able to send our members of Parliament to Japan for a program for benchmarking, and Japan can also be able to send members here for benchmarking in legislation. And of course, one thing that legislation is very funny, it's actually tricky. You need to understand what happens in the other country. It's not written anywhere that this is how you should legislate, but you should be able to see what happens in the other area. How should we do it better? And that is what should be done. Much as we have the laws that we follow, but they are not cast on stone. So we would love to do the benchmarking in your country, and they equally do in Uganda. And we thank you so much for coming. And we are in the East African community. Now, in the East African community, we are trying to promote one language. The one language we are trying to protect is Swahili. Now, in Swahili, we do say karibu sana. Karibu sana, you're welcome. Thank you.
And I also thank you for the friendship and from your parliament and your colleagues that's shown to my predecessor, Fuku. And also as a parliament as a whole, we appreciate your resolution for appreciation for our aiding agency, JICA. Our assistance extended to our friends in Uganda in various areas, including, of course, economic development, infrastructure, agriculture, medical, education, refugee, and of course northern part development. So we want to see not only in one area, but also balance and up-to-date development of Uganda. And also appreciate your mention to the neighboring countries. We would see, we recognize Uganda as a hub of this region, historically and into the future. You have abundance of resources, including the young people, which will be the treasure of your country and the hope for next generation to come. And my government and my people would like to invest for the future generation as well. I am very much looking forward to work with you. I would like to work as hard as my predecessors. I will do my best. And thank you for mentioning the parliamentary exchange with my country. The one issue I may have is in Japan we have two parliaments, upper house and lower house. So there may be a competition which side will take Uganda's parliament, but I will communicate with Tokyo. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for your time and your colleagues, and I'm looking forward to do my best in my terms. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank you again in what you are promising, promoting equity. Because originally we used to have the friendship basically in the north, and now that we are going to do throughout the whole country in terms of agriculture, in terms of infrastructure, education, and all those things, and the young people who we can identify to support now that we're going to do in the whole country. We want to thank you for that, and this country will develop a lot if all the things are distributed equally. We have a lot of products in the country, like coffee. I think we have the best coffee, but we are looking for market for this coffee. So if Japan can be able to say that we have market for coffee, tomorrow we shall even be able to supply. So we have coffee, we have milk, and we are very, very rich in tourism. And one of the first sites I was telling you in tourism is the equator. That you need to know where the equator is passing. While we were at school, when we were young, they would bring a question about equator. We didn't know where it was. We thought it was in another country. Little did we know that it is within us. So it is a very rich country. It is very good in tourism. And in terms of security, we are just being guaranteed that the security in this country is perfect. And while you're in Uganda, feel at home. And once more, we want to give you some small gifts from Parliament of Uganda to show you the friendship that we are creating between you and the Parliament of Uganda. Thank you.